Welcome, I'm Julie Baker, and today we are going to talk about yoga props. As some of you have probably taken up yoga in your home or moved away from your studio, had your studio close during these crazy times, there has been a lot of discussion about when studios open, if we can use our props or not use our props or bring your own props and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that I would do this video to just talk a little bit about props in general, and then you can make your own decisions. So the only thing you really need for a yoga practice is some kind of mat. And even that is debatable. You can do yoga just out anywhere if you want to, but it's more comfortable with some type of mat. And there are different mats on the market. This one happens to be a Manduka mat. It is a thicker mat, and for me, it feels better on my knees. There are lots of other mats out there that you can check out and see what works best for you for a variety of reasons. But mat is the number one thing that you need. And then some things that make life a little easier with yoga, or if you're doing some extra stuff, restorative poses, some yin practices and things like that. Or if you have some mobility issues, some flexibility issues, while you're practicing, you are in strength building mode or flexibility mode where your body isn't quite there yet, but you're working toward it. And props can be really beneficial for that. So a lot of times you'll see in yoga classes straps, and they come in all different colors and styles and all kinds of craziness now. The most important thing to look for, I think, is a D-ring. There are some straps that have a plastic latch, and I find those more difficult to adjust during class and to adjust quickly. If you have one like that, you can make do. But if you're doing things where you're actually making a loop with your strap and you need to be able to tighten or loosen it quickly, the D-rings work really well for that. And this is more a typical strap that you'll see in a yoga class. It's a twill, like a cotton, heavier weave, and it is washable, which is good. And I recommend an 8-foot or a 10-foot strap. A lot of times you see the 6-foot straps, and even if you're a petite person, 6 foot it gets to be a little challenging if you're doing some of the leg mobility exercises, or even some of the binds where you reach back for your feet and things like that. So having a strap that's about 8 foot, that's a good in between. If you're super tall, I would go for the 10-foot strap, or if you want a couple of straps, you can do a 6-foot and an 8-foot, or a 6-foot and a 10-foot. You can always hook them together that way. So that's another way to work. And then another thing you will see in yoga class quite frequently is a block. And these are wonderful for a lot of reasons. They help bring the floor closer to you. So if you are in a pose and your flexibility, your mobility, you're a tall person again, it's a little longer time or way for you to get down to the floor, you can always use these blocks to make all kinds of configurations and help bring the floor a little closer to you. These are the foam blocks, and they are 4-inch thick. I find these to be the most sturdy. There are some thinner, some narrower blocks out there that can have some benefit for some of the back opening poses. But if you're wanting something to place your hands on to bring the floor closer to you, then having a little more surface in contact with the floor, in my opinion, is a more sturdy and stable way to go. And like I said, these are the 4-inch ones. They are foam, so they are lighter. There are cork blocks on the market as well, and it's just, as far as I'm concerned, just a personal preference. I've always preferred the foam blocks because they are lighter, and if they do come in contact with your body for a back bending pose or a supportive opening where you're lying back on them, putting some weight on them. I find the foam ones to be more comfortable than the cork ones, but again, it's personal preference. All of them can be wiped down with the disinfectant wipes and things like that to help keep them clean. In our coronavirus age that we are in, most studios were really pretty clean to begin with, but this is just going to make everybody a little more on top of their game. And then another staple that you will find in a yoga class is a blanket of some kind. And this one is just a cotton Mexican blanket, I believe is what they're called. And they're great for a variety of things, for restorative poses, for giving you a little extra cushion if you're sitting, to get your hips up a little higher and position your pelvis a little better for poses. They are also good to build up for shoulder stand or headstands or some other things. You may also find wool blankets in studios, and the wool blankets are a little more dense. They are a little heavier blanket. They provide a more firm support. It's really, again, just preference. I find the cotton ones to work fine, and if memory serves me right, the price point on the cotton blankets is a little bit better than the wool blankets, and they're really easy to wash. And I would, well, actually back to that, I'd recommend 2 blocks if you're going to invest in blocks. And I would recommend at least 1, but 2 blankets are really nice if you are doing a home practice, especially if it involves restorative yoga. That's a good 2 to 3 blankets, but again, be budget friendly. Maybe it's something that you start with the bare minimum and then makes good gifts. When your family wants to know what to get you, you just send them the little link that says, hey, buy me another yoga blanket. So those are pretty common in studios. I am sitting on a bolster, which is a big cushion. And there are a couple different kinds of bolsters. This one here, the purple one, is the very first bolster I ever bought. It is, it's about 4 or 5 inches thick. It's a little thinner than the one I'm actually sitting on. And it's a more rectangular shape. This one has served me well through the years. The one I am sitting on has also been a great bolster. It is thicker though. It is rectangular as well. It is about 6, almost 7 inches thick. It's heavier than the purple ones. And then if you look on yoga websites, props and things, there are all different shapes. There are round ones, there are fat ones, skinny ones, neck rolls, back pranayama, bolsters, all kinds of different things. You don't need all of them. You just need, it would be, you know, if you're going to invest, it's nice to have at least one. And the purple one, I will say, is from Hugger Mugger. It's a yoga props, yoga company that has been around for ages. I mean, I've been doing yoga for over 25 years. And like I said, this is the first bolster I bought. The one I'm sitting on came from yogaaccessories.com, and they have a variety. Again, you can check to see what fits your price point, but it's nice to have your own bolster too. Something extra that you can have is an eye pillow, and this one is just like a little bean bag that's rectangular in shape. Some people just make their own. They have flaxseed in them, or I can't remember the other grain, but they have some kind of grain in them. When you're doing a restorative pose, or you just need some quiet time, good to rest your eyes with all the extra screen time we have right now. Lying down for a nap, plopping this right over your eyes is a great gift to yourself. So you can find these again at one of the companies that I already mentioned. And I'm not affiliated with any of the companies that I've mentioned. I just like their stuff. So you can feel free to choose whatever you want. But these have been my go-tos for over 20 years. And then one more prop that's kind of nice. If you get into restorative yoga, or you tend to be, there's two different kinds of tight muscles, but if your muscles are like super, super tight from either a training program, if you're an athlete, you're a runner, something that you really intensely train, cyclists, those kind of things, or you have a job where you have a lot of repetitive motion in your job and need deeper openings for poses, restorative yoga, yin yoga, the sandbags are a really nice addition to have too. Years ago, I worked with a student who was a mail carrier, and carrying that mail sack on one side caused some issues with his shoulders. So we did some cool stuff with the sandbags and helped to really open up those shoulders for him. So that's another, it's not something you have to have for a yoga practice, but it is one of those little extra things that if you need a gift idea, there you go. Sandbag is a gift idea. And it's nice to have two of those because you can put obviously one on each shoulder. There's some other things where you can put one like down the center of your chest, one across your pelvis, one on each leg, those kind of things. So that's kind of the scoop on props. Bare bones, the only thing you truly need is a mat and a willingness to learn and grow and see where your body will take you to practice yoga. If you want to add something, the first thing I would add would be 2 blocks. And then the next thing I would add would be a strap. And then the next thing I would add would be 2 blankets, maybe 3. And then the next thing on the list to add would be the bolster. And then comes the extra stuff, the eye pillows, the sandbags, any of those kind of things. You can also substitute things within your home if you don't want to invest, you're just new to yoga, you don't know if you want to really go all in. Blankets, obviously you can substitute beach towels or blankets that you already have in your home. Those kind of things work really well. Something that you can roll up or fold up to get about 2 to 4 inches of thickness out of them. Blocks, that can be, you can substitute stacks of books at home. They aren't always as stable. Some of my friends have joked about using the now empty round containers that had your disinfectant wipes in them, fill them up with some rocks and use those as a prop. That's an idea. So you can get kind of creative with your things at home. Straps, you can substitute a belt, a scarf, a hand towel. Again, you can kind of wrap it around your foot if you're doing some leg stuff. There are some things that really are helpful to have a specific strap for, but a lot of things you can get creative with the home supplies, raid your closets, raid those clothes, things that you don't wear anymore, and drag out some of that stuff. And then bolsters, you can use pillows. You can use cushions from your couch. If you have a sleeping bag that rolls up, roll up that sleeping bag and use it for a bolster. You get the similar effect. You can also substitute, prop yourself up against a couch or a chair or something like that. So all kinds of options, but this is the skinny on props. And again, it was a Manduka mat. It was a hugger mugger bolster, and the grain bags or sandbags are actually from Hugger Mugger. They come empty. You supply your own sand. And then most everything else, I believe that I showed came from yogaccessories.com. So try those out. I'm not an affiliate. I get nothing for promoting their stuff. I just like their stuff and think it's cool. So I hope this was helpful for you and gives you some good information and demystifies props. When your local studio opens, I would suggest bringing as much of your own stuff if you want to stay 100% safe. I know the studios are going to be jumping through hoops to make sure that everything is disinfected and safe, and safe for us to teach, safe for you to participate, and safe for everybody to have a great experience. So again, to be 100%, bring your own stuff. And that way, I've always said that about the mats. That way it's your feet on there that you're putting your nose by. So that's it. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning in. I will be posting some more little snippets of things here and there, so check back. Namaste.